I'm very glad to share this stage with Dr. Uri from Fetcherr. He's one of the most brilliant minds I have ever met, and I'm glad he's working with Azul on Fetcherr. And I'm glad we are hiring him to do all the intellectual work. Otherwise, I would already be homeless. I want to start sharing a little bit about Azul business model. Back in 2008, when it was founded, it has always grown, serving a much significant higher number of destinations than our competitors. 700 departures, 60% of connecting traffic, and it had the ideal complexity to allow us to implement the first AI pricing module with Fetcherr. That was back in the pandemic world. In the post-pandemic world, we first started our business together in 2022, and we were basically drowning in the sea of Excel spreadsheets and SQL queries, and that's where Fetcherr came in and helped us solve a little bit of that mess. Azul has gained in August the prize of the most on-time performance airline in the world. And we still keep up with our strategy of serving a lot of destinations, lots of connecting traffic, which makes us the perfect customer for this. Our starting point in 2022 is that we had insufficient pricing updates. Our tools were we didn't have a system itself for pricing, and we had not enough uploads from fares in our systems compared to our competitors, and we needed to scale up and to have more robust processes and make it to scale, as we were growing a lot, almost 15% a year, and we are keeping up with those rates. Then we did the first bold move to be the first airline on board with Fetcherr, to do the first all-in into the AI world. Couple challenges we faced from the very beginning. The bottom two challenges, the volume of manual workload was already in-house. We already had that problem. And our analysts were much focused on firefighting instead of thinking about the strategy of the business. And then with the AI adoption, we faced new three problems, which were: how do we create the infrastructure for that, given that we were in a world of Excel and SQL basically still, the integration complexity, and also how do we scale up from zero, as we had no system pricing, no system for doing pricing at the moment. Here are a couple of the solutions we found for each one of those items. Infrastructure. We have a cloud-based infrastructure figured out with Fetcherr. They ingest our data daily, many times a day, and it's a very robust and scalable. We can grow as much as we want right now. That they're gonna be enough processing power and storage power for that. For the integration complexity, we did not start with a big bang implementation. We started first implementing 10 ONDs, then moving to 50 more every week, up to the point where we reach it right now, where we have 70% of our network covered by Fetcherr inputs. And not doing this big bang move and going slowly, it helped us a lot into creating the trust from our analysts and helping them interact better with the AI. As we had not any parameters to compare with, and we were initially struggling with technology. I think a lot of the work that Fetcherr has done was to improve explainability of what was happening behind their models, so that our analysts could build that trust and also start being friends with the tool we had. The operational overload, of course, we haven't changed the number of headcounts in our team so far. Not because we haven't saved hours, I'm going to talk to that later, but because our analysts now are much more focused on the business and on its strategy, rather than on fare filing and just input and output of fares into the system. So that's a new era of managing prices with AI began in Azul. And this is where we are right now. We are managing more than 2,500 ONDs in our network, and we do have millions of price updates every day. And we came up with a new problem, which was Fetcherr is able to handle much more data than the airline can digest. And we had also to upscale and create and change our mindset and the way we were working to enable for more usage of that data and of those insights. We got the suggestion from Fetcherr for creating more APs, more advanced purchase fences in our fare structures, and we did that. We started discussing new concepts instead of just being competitive or not being competitive. We started discussing different concepts such as latency, how often our competitors are changing prices. And that was only possible because we have this engine doing all the heavy lifting and the heavy work for us. The models are pretty robust. We always talk and interact to see which variables make sense to be included in the models so that it can translate into actions and into more pricing insights. And Fetcherr has always been pretty flexible in that point. Our analysts, they have become super analysts now. Again, focusing more on the strategy, focusing more on working with other business units rather than focusing on filing fares and just doing the manual workload that I think many pricing faces here, and you know the workload is brutal on the pricing environment. We also enable some capabilities of running simulations before we implement stuff. Fetcherr enables us to do many what-if scenarios to simulate the results of our actions before we even implement them, so that there's a higher chance of success when making pricing decisions and when implementing changes. In a nutshell, the strategy is still owned by the airline, and Fetcherr just helps me translate my strategy into actions with huge support from data and from the models of AI. The good thing about it is AI suggests, the humans, they judge and they interpret it, and this feedback is what allows us to move further. We created from the beginning, when we were adopting Fetcherr, and our analysts were struggling a lot with the system, we created a concept called the gray zone, the green zone. Any price changes below 3 or 5% would be accepted automatically, and anything more dramatic would need the judgment from an analyst to accept it or not. That helped us a lot also in providing this feedback to Fetcherr into what makes sense for our strategy and what does not. The impact of this, of course, it translates in RASK and RASM in more revenue. It enhanced our competitive positioning. We discuss not only if we are competitive or not, or by how much, but also how are we doing that across different dates, different periods of time, different markets. And from the very beginning, we tried not to mess with the market dynamics. We don't want the market to get in a spiral down mode. And Fetcherr knows a lot about this, and they understood, and their models act correspondingly because of that feedback and interaction of analysts and the AI models. These are the results. So right now we have 70% of our network prices, they are controlled by AI, with only exceptions handled manually by our analysts and having to be interpreted and with new feedback. And we generate more than 3 million fare recommendations over the year of 2024. The impact in revenue is sensible and is perceivable, and it's huge, not only because of the revenue itself, but also because we have the feeling that we know more the reasons why revenue is improving, where, when, and why. So to wrap up, I think the most important lessons we learned is the trust into this new technology. It grew with transparency. The more we could have Fetcherr explaining to us the reasons behind their decisions, we worked a lot in the very beginning, the explainability models, so that the analysts and the team would be more comfortable with the reasons behind the decisions that Fetcherr was making. That helped us a lot in the adoption. Not doing it big bang, gradual scale up. We started with few markets. We were ramping up a few set of markets every week. And when we realized it, we had already more than 60% of our network covered. Our marketing position has improved because, again, I know exactly what I'm doing and how I'm positioning. And of course, less manual work. I've saved over 2,000 hours, and that's around 10% of my workforce. With less workload, with less data swamping, and having to input and output files from systems and do the fair filing process. I'm pretty glad to say that since the beginning, Fetcherr has not even once filed a fare wrongly. I know there are many pricing analysts and people who work with pricing who have already typed a wrong number of zeros in the fares, and you end up with either a $1 fare or $1,000 fares for no good reason. But right now, I'm pretty sure if I see a $1,000 fare in my system, it's because there is demand for it, and I trust Fetcherr that that's the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you, André. It has been a great pleasure working together. I must say, André's team and Azul Airlines are true trailblazers. They believed in AI, in us, and in the innovation of technology much before it was well-fashioned as it is today. So in the next few minutes, I'll take you a little behind the scenes, and we'll double-click on the technology that enables the magic that André has shared with you. By the way, I'm Uri Yerushalmi. I'm the Chief AI Officer and co-founder at Fetcherr. We founded Fetcherr in 2019 as a company that is devoted for building the best decision-making systems that are backed by state-of-the-art AI. And we understood on day one that in order to do so, we must have a large market model that predicts accurately the anticipated market dynamics. So we have built such a large market model based on generative AI principles. And that brought us to a place where today we are well known not only as pioneers in decision making, but also as tech leaders in generative AI. Now, the large market model is in the core of all of the offerings that we have. It is based on Gen AI technology, but with some kind of a twist. Usually, when we say generative AI, it means models like ChatGPT or DALL-E models that are trained on textual data or visual data. In our case, there is a significant difference. The large market model is trained on market data. And that's a fundamental shift because it's no longer a model that tries to imitate human reasoning, but a model that is directly connected to the market dynamics. And that enables us to make a lot of simulations relating to pricing, as in the Azul Airlines case, or other simulations relating, for example, to operational decisions or to inventory. And the large market model is only one component in a pipeline of decision making that starts with consolidation of data from various sources. From the airlines, we usually gather 4 types of data sets. And on top of that, we add some external data sources. All of these data sources are used to train the large market model. And once the large market model is trained, it can predict future market dynamics. And these predictions are then used for simulations of what's going on in the market. And based on these simulations, we choose the optimal decision-making policy that generates maximal reward. And the decision-making policy in case of Azul Airline was a pricing policy, hence the generative pricing engine that made these decisions. And that's what derived all of the results that we saw earlier. But pricing is not the whole picture. There are many other types of decisions made in airlines, like, for example, inventory-related decisions or operational decisions. Inventory decisions are covered by the generative inventory engine capability, the GIE. Operational decisions are covered by the generative network decision, the GNE, that covers decisions relating to schedules, to maintenance, to crew management, and more. And all of these capabilities together, they form some kind of a comprehensive decision-making platform. Such a decision-making platform enables to look at all of the decision being made holistically. And that's some backbone of a next generation airline. An airline that looks holistically at all of these decisions based on a central market model, which enables the airline to be not only agile and innovative, but also resilient to all of the existing market changes. Thank you very much.